This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, Patrick.
Hey guys.
Hello?
You'll have to remember at your places to turn your mics on when you're talking.
All right, I got 7 o'clock. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Start with roll call, please.
Lane.
Here.
Daniels.
Here.
Michael.
Here.
Ritter.
Here.
Murdoch.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, all council members are present.
Okay. I would invite you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our first item tonight is our consent agenda. Tonight, on the consent agenda, we have approval of the minutes from our council meeting of July 15th and approval of pay ordinance number 907. Any discussion of any of the consent agenda items or a motion?
I'll make a motion. We approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Daniels.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Ritter.
Yes.
Murdoch.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, motion passes.
Okay. Our next item is call to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business not listed on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted on by the council during this meeting. Does anyone wish to address the council under call to public?
I do.
Okay, please step up to the mic and state your name and address.
I'm Martha Johnson, 8505 Peoria Street, DeSoto, Kansas. And I'm the manager at Casey's General Store here in town.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you're all the ones I need to be talking to or not, but I wanted to come by and I wanted to say thank you to whomever hired the crew that is doing the roundabout. They have been outstanding. Sam and his crew have just been outstanding to my business. They've made sure that my driveway's been open for business. They have communicated with me every day, every step of everything that's going on. And I know you guys have heard a lot of negative about it and had a lot of flack, but I wanted to come by and I just wanted to take the time to say thank you and thank you to them.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your, the positive feedback is always a nice.
We never hear that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for that.
Thank you.
Mike, anyone on
Sam is the project foreman out there for Lionel Weaver.
Okay.
So he's worked very closely with Walter on a day-to-day basis, especially with this temporary traffic control stuff.
He's been wonderful.
It's been a challenge, yeah. So yeah, we've been very happy. Wished it would have been 2 weeks further on in the schedule. We're cutting it kind of close here with school starting on Wednesday. But you know, we've been in close coordination about that date and about having all lanes of traffic open and the medians there so that we don't have a big mess of a traffic control thing for the first day of school. it looks like they're planning on the asphalt surface lift tomorrow, which will make everything nice and smooth. And then by Monday, have the dividing islands on each quadrant, have those in place. So all the lanes, and so we won't have a forest of traffic cones out there on by Wednesday.
Okay,
Happy about that.
all right. Anyone else under call to public? Anyone on the online link? Nope, I don't see anybody.
We have Loya Berry's on, but I think she's probably here for the DeSoto.
That's what I was guessing, yeah. I shouldn't have assumed though.
Should. She's not speaking up.
Okay, we'll move on then. Old business, we have none, so we'll go to item 4A. Consider engineering services agreement for Ottawa Street reconstruction project.
Yes, council, this is our big capital improvement project to be constructed next year. So as we typically do, we hire the engineering firm, the prior year, allocate funding in the CIP for that purpose. We actually did as we typically do with the larger projects, a qualifications-based selection process that included staff and some council members. Selected CFS. We brought that recommendation to you in May. And since then, we've been negotiating. It hasn't been a full-time, full-on negotiation, but it's taken a couple of months to get a scope and fee proposal put together. The total fee, the contract will be a lump sum, not a lump sum, an hourly not to exceed structure, and their fee estimated cost total $249,541. That's a bit higher than what we expected. I think in the original version of the CIP, we had around 250, but the last time we updated it, we knocked that down to 200. I can tell you that this project is a little more complicated than most because of some coordination issues with the railroad. And then also because it's going to be lit and administered by KDOT because we're getting KDOT local project funding for this. These plans will have to be vetted, approved, and administered by KDOT in their bidding process. So that adds to the engineering consultants' workload when they do that. So we've had some back and forth about scope elements and assignment of tasks and things like that. So the number we settled on is just under $250,000. I'm comfortable that it represents the effort that's going to be required to get a successful project out to bid. The schedule that they had in their qualifications proposal had them complete by September. I'm sorry, had the project bidding early next year, but we're 4 months behind where we thought we would start. We thought we'd be starting the contract in May. We're 4 months behind that. So extend that out. Still allows for a spring letting and then summer construction next year. So their cost proposal is attached as Exhibit A to the staff report, and Exhibit B has shown our typical boilerplate engineering contract. This is the one we've used on all the bigger engineering projects we've had lately. We'll need to revise this, and I did a little bit, but Patrick hasn't had a chance to review it, but it'll be tailored toward the current design project. So what I'm asking for is approval of the scope and fee with CFS in an amount not to exceed $249,541, contingent on Patrick's review of the final contract.
Okay. Questions for Mike? Seeing none, anyone would like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to authorize the mayor to enter into an engineering agreement with CFS Engineering for the Ottawa Street project in an amount not to exceed $249,541, contingent on the city attorney's review of correct language and inclusion of a schedule that will allow the project to be let for bids no later than May of 2022.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Hanamichael,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Murdoch.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Item B, consider temporary use permit for DeSoto Days.
Yes, council, Brad generated the staff report for this. He's been out of the office. He's available online for any questions, but he doesn't have the packet in front of him. So I promised him that I would do the initial introduction of the item and look in for any questions you might have. So true to my promise, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the DeSoto Days Festival, we're glad to see is back after a year hiatus last year. The general format of the event will be the uptown like we did. So you'll see it'll be much the same as that. There's actually the temporary use permit that requires a blocking off of some streets downtown. There is a noise permit and a parade permit. Brad, I think you're feeding back a little bit on your audio. Is that you? Is that Brad?
Is that any better?
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so 3 permits total involved here. The event will be Labor Day weekend, like always. That's September 2nd through the 4th. The carnival is going to have to start setting up on that Monday or Tuesday. So August 30th through September 2nd, the carnival will have to set up. So that'll require blocking the streets downtown, some of the streets for that purpose, so they can get set up. I want to pull up the map here just so everybody's kind of familiar. On this map, north is to the right, and I'm going to have to scale it down a little bit so we can get it all on the page here generally. So like we said here on this map, 83rd Street runs top to bottom, and then here's Wea and Shawnee. So the main carnival rides will be, between Wea and Shawnee, some of them up Wea Street, there by the fire station. The vendor booths will largely line Shawnee Street, coming down towards City Hall, because the car show is going to take place at City Hall like it did in 2019. And so having the vendor booths there will really kind of help tie those 2 locations together. So we're pretty pleased with that. They're going to need the new power pedestal that we installed for this purpose at the corner of Shawnee and 83rd Street. The carnival will bring their own power like they always do, and they may need to supplement some power for the vendors down Shawnee Street. Most of the food vendors will be right near the intersection of 83rd. So what we're asking for, recommending approval of, is the parade permit, which will happen on that Saturday, the temporary use permit, which will be the whole week, and then the noise permit, which will also follow the whole week. And we do have some representatives in the audience, and like I said, Loya's online, probably listening into this issue as well. If you're so inclined to take that recommendation, please include all 3 of those permits in your motion, and the mayor votes on this item.
Okay. Questions from council? Would you guys like to say anything about this, or did Mike cover it? All right, Mike covered it. He generally covers things in pretty good detail. So if we have any questions, we can ask those, or if someone's ready to make a motion, take that step.
I will make a motion to approve the temporary use permit along with the parade permit and the noise permit as included and described in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Walker,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Carmichael,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both for leading our DeSoto Days effort. We appreciate hard work
Thank you very much.
for that.
Thank you for your support. That really helps.
All right. Item C, consider temporary use permit for cooking on the cob.
Yes, council, another event that's returning after absence last year, October 8th and 9th. So the 8th is a Friday and the 9th is a Saturday. Cooking on the Cob event. I think from as near as I can tell, I'm not as familiar with that event, but I think this is the same setup that they've had in years past. So there's not a noise permit. There's not going to be any live bands there or PA systems. So don't think there's a need for the noise permit, but just the temporary use permit for that barbecue contest, obviously sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, promotes tourism and helps fund the chamber. Recommending approval of that temporary use permit for that event. And again, the mayor votes.
Okay, any questions on the cooking on the cob temporary use permit? Would some,
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We approve the temporary use permit for cooking on.
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Walker,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Hatamakel,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Item D, consider bids for repair to the water department distribution.
Yes, council, unfortunately, we're in need of a significant repair to this building. It's only a few years old. The stone wainscot on the front, it was a faux stone, the stuff that you just adhere to a wall. It actually fell off of the building earlier this spring, and a couple of storm events kind of did it in. It was attached to some backing, then the backing actually came loose from the structural members of the building. After looking at what occurred, it's not so much water intrusion, but some of that, but it didn't look like that backing was properly secured to the structure of the steel structure of the building. And so some of the repairs that are going to have to be done include addition of some structural members to adequately secure the new fascia. We went out for bids on this. We only got 2 of them. The low bid was $8,740 from Trifecta. Did contact the insurance company on this. Our deductible is $5,000, and they were a little reluctant to commit to funding even the rest of that, and indicated our insurance rates might reflect it going forward. So in the end, I don't know that it's worth a claim on. We'll certainly run it through that process, but in the end, we might not find any value to do it, to making a claim. So we'll analyze that as we go forward. Regardless, the work does need to be bid, and we do have two bids. So we're recommending that we proceed with the bid from Trifecta Concrete Solutions.
Okay. Any questions for Mike on this?
Yeah, Mike, are we like past any time frame to go back on the person who
Yeah,
built the building?
unfortunately, yeah. Otherwise, this would
We
be,
would have,
it would be a claim, yep,
a warranty item instead of a,
without a doubt.
Was there any noticeable reason why one's almost half the cost of the other?
Not really. When you only get 2 bids and contractors are real busy on a small project like that, I don't know. Brad, is that something that any conversations you had, anything to add there?
Well, all I can add is both contractors did come out to the site and got the same instructions. So as you said, Mike, workload and ability to get to the job, things like that certainly factor into their price.
okay. Any other
Yeah,
questions?
Yeah, Kevin, if I can ask a question. So in terms of the way they're putting it back together, did you get any external advice, or are you taking the recommendations of each of the 2 bidders relative to their method for the repair or the reconstruction?
I guess to answer that, Kevin, we did not, I did not solicit any information or advice from the architect who originally drew up the plans. I did solely lean on the contractor's recommendations. Of course, I did talk with Mike and then also Marshall. And then Terry, who works out at the water plant, also has a significant background in construction. In fact, he was the foreman on the repairs that were done out of the water plant prior to working to the city of DeSoto.
Okay, and then a follow-up to that then is on the material that they're putting back. The Crookham was specific in the material that they included in their bid, and I believe, I mean, you look back at Trifecta, just says install stone. Do we know what the product is, and how is it comparable to what was there? Is it better than what was there? Does it need to be any different?
Well, it'll be comparable to what was there. And really what happened was the OSB or the plywood that was backing wasn't adhered. It didn't have enough supports underneath to attach to the building itself. And as water and just weather events got to it, it peeled off. So no, I guess to answer your question, Crookham's bid is more specific than Trifecta's. However, I do feel that Trifecta has a pretty good understanding. I mean, we did go out and meet with them and walk them through the project and the things that we needed to have completed.
All right, I just wanted to be sure that, we're doing a good resolution going back, and, I'm sure it doesn't surprise me at all that one contractor's price could be double another's right now, just given the market conditions. But, just looking at the specificity in the proposals that they gave, I was curious how they were, what they were bidding on, if you will, if they were bidding on the same thing, and if we're getting a good solid solution going back.
Right.
That's all.
Well, I certainly can follow up with Trifecta and ask them for some more specifics if that would make the mayor and council more comfortable on this selection.
Well, I think we'll probably, I presume we'll act on it regardless. I just hope that you follow through and make sure that we don't have another problem.
Absolutely.
I just had one question. Did the original architect have any specs on how it should have been adhered? Or was this the same contractor that maybe installed the siding upside down?
It unfortunately was the same contractor that got the low bid after we went out and bid it ourselves. Initially, if you remember, we bid it as a design build, and the pricing came in around, I think it was just below, the low bid was just below $500,000. And when we bid it as design bid build, contracting price was a little below $300,000. Anyway, to answer your question, this was all installed by the contractor, prime contractor, Eric Mio. And we've had certainly some issues. Most of them we've been able to resolve ourselves, but this certainly was more than just something that city staff could take care of.
Understood. Thank you.
And one more, I guess, just to follow up, you're sure it's not a water intrusion issue from elsewhere in the building that was, I take it something must have saturated it and the weight caused it to separate, something to that effect, but you're sure there's not a weather stripping or flashing or some other issue somewhere else that contributed to the failure?
Well, not that I'm aware of. I did see, the flashing and all those are in place. So I don't believe there's any way that the water could have got back behind there. I really think it was just a poor installation, and just the OSB panels there weren't enough supports underneath or behind them that they could adhere to. And then the weight of the stone as it got wet or as it weathered, it just sort of peeled off.
Could be just time and gravity too. If it wasn't properly supported, I mean, whether it's wet or not, I mean, if they're just that load on that OSB, if the supports were too far apart, it would start to sag or bow between the metal studs, and then pop off, and certainly wouldn't be helped by rainfall. But I can believe that if the OSB didn't have enough support, then it's going to wiggle, move, and deflect, and then that's going to let the adhesive that's holding the faux stone onto the OSB separate and cause the whole system to fail.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Trifecta Concrete Solutions in amount not to exceed $8,740 for repair of the exterior stone wainscot at the water distribution building.
I'll
Second.
second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Monomichael,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you. Our next item is to discuss the 2022 draft budget.
Yes, council. So I was finally able to compile the complete document, which was put in the electronic packet. I did not make hard copies. If you want a hard copy of the draft version, we can certainly make one for you. Hasn't been really any material changes to the numbers or the policies or the philosophies or any impact on mill levy or utility rates since we discussed this. Really, the last time we discussed this was in May. Really, there's been no material changes since then. There have been a couple things occur that I did incorporate into the document we haven't discussed. One of those being the capital improvements bond issue that we just issued here last month. Remember, we took out $2.1 million in new debt to finance capital improvement projects, and then an additional amount, the total is $7 million, so an additional 5 or so to refund existing debt. So those debt repayment schedules have been revised and reflected in this document here. Mostly that occurs on the debt service fund in terms of our payments for next year and the projections for thereafter in that debt service fund. The other thing that I've incorporated into the budget a little more thoroughly is the COVID Relief Act money. We got $400,000 in, 400 and some change in July, and we'll get the same amount next July. So I've shown that as revenues in the general fund, and then I've also included a transfer in the 2022 budget, a transfer from the general fund to the capital improvements fund of $850,000. That's not all of that money, so some of that money is going to stay in the general fund, but that's with the anticipation that those funds are going to be programmed as part of the capital improvements plan overhaul that we'll be doing this fall. So we'll incorporate that revenue stream and incorporate whatever new projects, whatever comes out of that process will be within the CIP, so that those funds will roll over, and we'll look at that each year, every year. So aside from those two changes, really the draft document that you have now was a filling in of the narratives and some of the charts and figures that we incorporate throughout the document to explain the policy ramifications of the budgeting process and exactly where we landed on mill rates and utility rates. So I had not planned a larger discussion other than just that this evening. If you have any questions or would like to give any input on the budget moving forward, we can certainly do that. We don't have a public hearing scheduled until what is it, Brandon?
September 2nd.
Yeah, September 2nd is the public hearing, and remember with the new property tax, the neutral rate, will be holding a public hearing on that issue in particular, that we're going to be exceeding our revenue neutral rate, and just the general one that we always do on the budget. So, and just for reference, we don't know yet of any municipality that is not exceeding the revenue. There might be one or two.
I noticed the fire district as well. No published notice of their
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah. Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to add is this chart up here that projects the year-ending fund balances for the general fund. We anticipate a big spike this year because of the COVID relief funds that we can't transfer out of the general fund because we don't have those transfers budgeted. So they're going to stay in the general fund until the start of 2022, and then we can transfer. So this chart looks a little weird with that great big spike here projected for 2020. But then, as is the policy, we're normalizing those year-end fund balances toward our policy of 30%. So I'll answer any questions you might have.
Did you, does this show what the projected impact is on our debt service fund as a result of our?
Yeah, the debt profiles.
Uh-huh.
I haven't gotten those debt profiles yet from Columbia Capital. I've asked them to get me those, and I don't know if we want to.
That's all right, we can wait till we get the.
But yeah, so
I was just curious if we had that.
Don't have it yet.
Yeah.
Don't have it yet, but I don't know how quickly this will come up. But we've seen that debt profile and how it diminishes
Right.
over time. Don't have those for now. I've got the placeholders in there.
Okay.
From the ones that they gave us at the beginning of the year. That will get incorporated. I wish I could find them quickly. Sorry, I can't.
Any questions for Mike? Any points of discussion anyone has?
Nope.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, Mike.
Good. Thank you.
Moving on, we do not have any executive sessions, so advisory reports. Mike, carry on. Anything for?
Yeah, no, the only thing I was gonna just update you on was the roundabout construction schedule, which we did a little bit earlier. So they're working hard to make sure that everything is as buttoned up as it could possibly be before school starts on Wednesday. Still working toward that.
Okay. And that's it for your report?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. City Attorney, Patrick, anything for the group tonight?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay. Brad, City Planner, anything? You're muted.
Sorry, I had the mute on. No, nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Brandon, anything from the city clerk?
Two quick things. If you notice, when you walk out the city hall today, our piece is up. We installed that yesterday afternoon. So that was, we laid the new pad and put the art piece up, and we're working on getting a plaque with the artist name and maybe a brief description of what the piece of art is supposed to represent. So we're working on that. And then the only other thing I have is this afternoon, you received an email from me about some revised retreat days. The date we selected on the 2nd was not working for everyone. So I kicked out 3 more dates. If you guys could get that back to me by maybe mid next week, that'd be great.
Okay. Council comments. We'll start with you, Danny.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Rob,
Nothing tonight.
Lori,
Yep, I'm good.
Kevin Hanemichael.
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Kevin Ritter.
I only have one comment. I will be on vacation for the second meeting of September, so I will be absent.
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything either, so.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Thank you all.
See ya.